Good day, math learners. So for this week, we are going to discuss about the proportion and application of fundamental theorems of proportionality. So we are already on quarter 3, week 5 of Mathematics 9. So on the following slides, you are going to see on how we're going to answer your learning task and the assessment part. So we start off with the definition. So when you say ratio, it is the comparison of two quantities. So let's say we're going to compare the quantity of boys into girls. You can have, for example, 28 boys is to 31 girls. So that's a ratio. But if we already have an equality of this ratio, we call it as your proportion. So if there's an equal part, for example, there's a ratio of 2 is to 3, then there's another ratio of 4 is to 6. If we're going to get the lowest term of this 4 is to 6, that is also equivalent to 2 is to 3. So that means they are proportional. So how are we going to use this one? Let's proceed to the next. So we start with finding the different properties of your proportionality. So if we're given with A is to B is equal to C is to D, or we can write in two different ways. So, no elementary, we have here your A is to B. So you have your means and extremes. And you can also use this fractional part. Then your A, B, and C, and D are not equal to 0. Then each of the following is true. Okay, let's start. We have A times D is equal to C times B. So what does this mean? This one is what we call as your cross multiplication property. So if for example, we have your A is equal to 2 and your B is equal to 3 and your C is equal to 6 and your D is equal to 9. So we know that it is proportional that your 2 is to 3 is equal to 6 is to 9. By cross multiplication, we can say that 2 times 9 is 18. Then 6 times 3 is also equal to 18. So it's also equal if we're going to cross multiply these two values. So that is cross multiplication. Another one is A over C is equal to B over D. So this one is an alternation property. So under your alternation property, doon natin nilagay yung C, then lagay naman natin sa taas yung B. So is it correct? Tingnan po natin. So let's say, so A over C. So that means we have 2 over 6. Is it equal with 3 over 9? So if we're going to get the lowest term of 2 over 6, that is 1/3. And if we're going to get the lowest term of 3 over 9, that is also 1/3. So the alternation property is also true. Okay, we proceed to our third property. Let me erase first this one. So we have your addition, and then we have your inverse property. So if you have A over B is equal to C over D, that is also equal to B over A is equal to D over C. So your A is 2, B is 3, so that means you have 3 over 2. Is it still equal? If we're going to inverse it to 9 over 6. So 9 over 6 is still equal to lowest term divisible by 3. This is 3, this is 2. So they are still equal. So we have your cross multiplication, you have your alternation property, and then you have your inverse property. Then, yung unang lumabas, you have the addition property. So, if you have A is to B is equal to C is to D, so we can add the denominator on your numerator. The same thing with your other side. And we can have still an equality or proportional ratios. So, let's say you have your A is equal to 2, your B is 3, over your B is 3. Is it still equal? If we're going to add, your C is 6 and your denominator is 9. Then we have here your denominator is 9. So 5 plus 3 is 5. 2 plus 3 is 5 over 3. Then 6 plus 9 is 15 over 9. We're going to get the lowest term. 15 and 9 are both divisible by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So still, they are proportional. So that is for your addition. Next, you have your subtraction property. Let me erase first this one. So under sa subtraction property, so yung kanina nag-add tayo, ngayon mag-subtract naman. So the same thing with your A, B, C, and D. So you're going to subtract the denominator. So subtract din natin yung denominator sa other side. So you have here your A is 2. So 2 minus 3 over your denominator is 3. Is still equal. We have 6 minus 9 over your D is 9. So 2 minus 3, that is negative 1 over 3. Is it equal to 6 minus 9 is negative 3 over 9. So this is already a lowest term. This one, when you get its lowest term, divisible by 3, so that's negative 1. 9 divided by 3, that's 3. So, they are still proportional even if we're going to subtract something on your numerator. Then finally, we have if your A over B is equal to C over D, and then we have an additional equals to E over F, and then your B, D, F are not equal to 0, then your proportion of A over B is equal to C over D is equal to E over F. If we're going to add all of them, that will be equivalent to a certain constant. Okay, so we're going to apply now these proportions to the following examples. So, using the proportion or the properties of your proportion, so we have m over n is equal to 4 over 7. So, where can we use this example? So, we can use this example to answer your learning task number 2, number 1. So, take note of this example on your learner's pocket. So, if you forgot to view this video, if you forgot how I discussed this one, you can view your learner's pocket. So, this example is for your learning task number 2, number 1, letters A to D. So, what are we going to do here? So, we're given with m over n is equal to 4 over 7. So our letter A is given with n over 7. So n is the denominator of our first value, and 7 is the denominator of the second value. So if we're going to get the value of this, just get the numerator of the first part, which is m, and then the numerator of the second part, which is 4. And that is already the answer. So tingnan lang po natin kung saang part po yung ating given. Then we're going to do the same dun sa kabilang part niya. So, for example, letter B, we have 4 over m. So, 4 is the denominator or numerator of our second value. So, we're going to get also the denominator of the second value, which is 7. And then m is the numerator of the first value. So, we're going to get the denominator naman ng ating first value, which is n. So, you're just going to get the connection or the proportion, the property of proportion used by the first given. Letter C, you have n over m. Let me erase first this one. Okay, so letter C, you have n over m. So what we did is just we inverse the first given. So we're just going to inverse the second. So instead of 4 over 7, we're going to have 7 over 4 because this one is an inverse. So using the inverse property, so we inverse this one. So this is already the correct answer. And then, so letter D, you have n plus m. So we started, so the denominator added the numerator, then over the numerator. So this is an application of both addition and inverse. So in inverse muna, then nag-addition. So we can do that. So if we're going to inverse, so yung 4 over 7 magiging 7 over 4, then we're going to add the denominator, which is 4. So 7 plus 4, that is 11 over 4. So I hope you understood what happened. So you just have to understand what property of proportion is used by our given. So this one is inversed. So we inverse the second one. So this one is letter D is an application of both inverse and addition property. We proceed to our example number 2. So here we're going to solve for the value of x using our cross multiplication property. So how are we going to answer letter A? So this one pala, you can use this to answer learning task 2, number 2, letters A to D. So note, this one is already discussed on the learner's packet. So I'm just repeating what's written on the learner's packet. I'm just discussing how we got the answer. So this one, you can use this information to answer learning task 2, number 2, letters A to D. So again, we're going to use the cross multiplication property to solve for the value of x. So for A, wait, let me erase that one. So for A, so before we cross multiply, maybe we can get the lowest term first of the second number. So it will be easier for us to multiply. So 15 over 20, so this will be can be divisible by 5. So 15 divided by 5, that's 5, that's 3. And then 20 divided by 5, that's 4. So we proceed. So we're given with 9 over x. And then the lowest term of the other side is 3 over 4. Then we can now cross multiply. So 9 times 4 is equal to 3 times x. So 3 times x is 3x. 9 times 4 is 36. Then we divide both sides by 3. So the value of x is 36 divided by 3 is 12. So that's how we got the correct answer. Then, let's proceed with letter B. So we write it in fraction part. So x over 6 is equal to 15 over 18. So we get again first its lowest term. So 15 and 18 are both divisible by 3. 15 divided by 3, that's 5. 18 divided by 3, that's 6. So we're going to have x over 6 is equal to 5 over 6. By cross multiplication, so 6 times x, 6x, 5 times 6, that's 30. Divide both sides by 6, so the value of x is 5. Proceed to the next examples. So here, so just cross multiply. We start with, sige, dito tayo sa madali. So 4 times 9. Put it on the other side. That is 36. Then we have 2 times your x plus 3. By distributive property, 2 times x, 2x. 2 times 3, that is 6. We're going to have 36. Then we're simply going to transpose your 6. You're going to have 2x equals 36 minus 6. So that becomes 30. Divide both sides by 2. The value of x is equal to 15. Now let me write it on the other side. So x is equal to 15. Okay, let's proceed with the other one. So 4x times 3, that is 12x. Then we have 6 times the quantity of x plus 2. So 12x is equal to distributive property, 6 times x, 6x, and 6 times 2, that is 12. So we're going to transpose your 6x, and this will become 12x minus 6x. So we're going to combine the variables, equals 12. And that is equivalent to 6x equals 12. Dividing both sides by 6, so the value of x is 2. Let's proceed now to example number 3. So in this, we're going to determine the values of the indicated quantities from the given proportions. So here we're given with u is to b is equal to 3 over 2. If we're going to write that, u over b is equal to 3 over 2. We're going to find the value of, let me write it here, 4u minus 3v all over 4u plus b. So let's solve first for a certain variable on this example. Magsa-substitute muna po tayo. So we start by cross multiplication. So we cross multiply 2 times u. This is 2u. Then 3 times v. That is 3v. So just like in solving your linear equation given two variables by substitution, so we need to solve for a certain variable first. So let me choose first u. So you divide both sides by 2 so then I can have a variable u. So this means the value of u is equal to 3 over 2v. Again, so we already have one specific variable, and this variable will be substituted to our unknown. So this will be substituted here. So our u is 3 over 2v. So simply substitute, we're going to have 4 times your u is 3 over 2v minus 3v. On the denominator, you have 4 times your u is 3 over 2v minus 3, plus v, sorry. That's plus v. Plus v. So, we simplify. This one is 4 times 3 is 12. Divided by 2, that is 6v. Minus 3v. The denominator, 4 times 3 again is 12. Divided by 2 is 6v plus v. So, if we're going to subtract, that is 3v. So, 6b minus 3b, that is 3v. All over 6b plus b, that is 7b. And we can simply cancel your v. And that means that the value of 4u minus 3b all over 4u plus b is equal to 3 over 7. Okay, I hope you got that. Let's proceed to the second example. We have to find the ratio of a is to b. If 2a squared minus ab minus 3b squared is equal to 0. So what we need to do here first is we simply factor your given quadratic expression. So you have 2a squared minus ab minus 3b squared. Given that your a and b are not equal to 0. So if we're going to factor this is equivalent to 2a times a. So basically, you have to know how to factor on this side or this part of the lesson. So you have to know how to factor. Then, if we're going to put here your 3b and b, so negative, positive, let's try. 3b times a, that's negative 3ab. 2a times b, that is 2ab. I'm using here trial and error. So we're going to have negative ab, which is basically the middle term of our given quadratic expression. So that means that the factor is correct. Tama yung factor natin. So basically, you have to know how to factor here. Then, we separate the two. So 2a minus 3b is equal to 0. And your a plus b is equal to 0. Then, simply transpose. So 2a is equal to 3b. And we're given with a is equal to negative b. So, we need the ratio of a is to b. So, ang kailangan natin is a over b. So, what do we need here for this to become a over p? So, kailangan natin to i-divide sa 2b. So, that we can cancel 2 and what will retain is your a over b. So, kailangan divide mo siya para ang matitira na lang sa part na to is yung a over b. So, may 2 siya, dinivide natin sa 2. Then, dinivide natin sa b. Unlike the other side, wala naman tong number na kasama. So, divide lang natin sa b. So, what you did on the first side, you have to do it also on the left side or on the right side. So, you have to divide by 2b, then over b. So if we're going to get its lowest term or cancel your b, your a over b is equal to 3 over 2. And you have a over b is also equal to negative 1 over 1. Let's have the next one. So you have here x is to y is to z. So you have another variable. Is to 1 is to 3 is to 5. So where x, y, and z is not equal to 0, we have to find the values of x, y, and z. Okay, where your x squared minus y squared plus z squared is equal to 68. So what we're going to do is we're going to assign, this is like the property of that we have under a proportion, yung last one. So we're going to assign, so this one is x is equal to 1. So let's assign k. Y is equal to 3. So let's assign their 3k. And then your z is 5. So let's assign z as your 5k. So after letting these values, we substitute them to this equation. So you're given with x squared minus y squared plus z squared is equal to 68. So substitute, your x is k, your y is 3k, and your z is 5k is equal to 68. So we simplify, that is k squared minus 3 times 3 is 9k squared plus 5 times 5 is 25. K squared is equal to 68. We combine this, that is equivalent to 17k squared is equal to 68. Then we divide first by 17. Your k squared is equal to 4. Since still it's squared, we get the square root. The square root of 4 is 2. Why didn't we get the negative 1? Since the values of x, y, and z are greater than 0, so that means they are all positive. So, kuhanin lang natin yung positive na root. So, we already have the value of k. So, we can already get the value of x, y, and z by substitution. Since our x is k, so it's just simply 2. And then our y is 3k, so 3 times 2, that is 6. And our z is 5k, so 5 times 2, that is 10. So I hope you understand all the examples that we have on the learner's pocket. So let's proceed now on how we are going to answer your learning activity number or your learning task number 2. So, I told you a while ago, you can use the lesson that we have a while ago. I'm just going to lead you towards answering the following. So, we have the given proportion b over t is equal to 9 over 4. So, you have to complete the proportion. So, for letter A, you have b over 9. So, this one, so we have both the numerator of your given. So, basically, ang lalagay din natin dito is the denominator. So, for example, the denominator here, so I'm just going to give your letter A. The denominator of V is T, and the denominator of 9 is 4. So, this is already the correct answer. Okay? Then, for letter B, we have 4 over T. So, baliktad lang nung given. So, this one is the denominator of both, pero nauna yung second value. So, ang lalagay nyo naman dito is yung numerator. So, numerator, then you start with the second value. Next, you have letter C, you have T over B. So, in this, you have your inverse property. So, you're just going to get the inverse of the other side. Inverse lang natin yung kabila. So, inverse lang po to 9 over 4. Sa letter D, you have your subtraction property. So, your numerator, diba, minus the denominator over the denominator. So, ganun lang din po yung gagawin. So, numerator minus denominator. Okay? Then, you're going to have the denominator, which is also 4. So, 9 minus 4 all over 4. That's what's the correct answer. Okay. So, that's for 1. I hope you were able to be led by those hints. Then, so number 2, we're going to use cross multiplication to solve for the value of y. So in here, I'm just going to get the equation. I already do the cross multiplication. Your task will be just to get the value of y. So let's start for letter A. So let's get first the lowest term of 28 over 49. So they are both divisible by 7. So 28 divided by 7, it's 4. 49 divided by 7, it's 7. Then we do the cross multiply. Y times 7 is 7y. Equals 4 times 21 is 84. Then it's your now task to get the value of y. For letter B, so cross multiply 4 times the value of y plus 5 equals 9 times 12. So the equation is 4y plus 20 equals 108. So ito yun. So solve nyo na lang yung value of y. For letter C, the same. We have your 18 times your y plus 4 is equal to 7y times 6. So the equation will become 18y plus 72 is equal to 42y. Okay, so simply solve for the value of your y. Transpose nyo lang to sa kabila, then divide. Ganon din dito, transpose lang yung 20, then divide. So number 1, kailangan nyo lang mag-divide both sides. So we proceed with letter D. So 2 times your 2y minus 3 is equal to 3 times your 3y minus 7. So we multiply 2 times 2y, that is 4y, minus 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3y is 9y. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. So simply transpose, and then divide both sides. So we proceed now with numbers 3 and 4. So ito, nakita na rin natin kanina. So to solve this one, so simulan lang natin. Then you will be continuing answering at home. So m over n is equal to 5 over 3. So ito yung magsa-substitute tayo. So we need to get first the variable that we need. So m over n is equal to 5 over 3. Cross multiply, 3m is equal to 5n. So let's say I will be needing your m. So divide both sides by 3. So your variable is equal to 5n over 3. Then you're going to substitute it with your 3m plus 4n all over your 6m minus 2n. Minus 2n. So simply substitute that m. Let's have number 3. So again, for number 2, substitute nyo na lang to dito kay m at kay m. Then, you can simply find the answer by simply canceling n. So, for number 4, ito yung kailangan natin mag-factor. Bibigay ko na yung factor sa inyo. Then, you can already solve for e over f. So, you're given with 5e squared minus 13ef minus 6f squared equals 0. So, if we're going to factor this one, we're going to have 5e and e here. Then, we're going to have negative 3f and positive 2f. Let's see, 5 times 3, that's 15. Negative 15 plus 2, that is negative 13. Then, we're just going to get what or do what I did kanina dun sa example na to. 5e plus 2f equals 0. Then, e minus 3f equals 0. Just continue to get the value of e over f. Kailangan ang dulo niyan, e over f is equal to kung ano yung value yun. Okay? So, I hope you understand that you will be able to answer numbers 1 to 4 of our learning task. Let's now proceed with the assessment. So for our assessment, again, we have 5 multiple choices. So for number 1, the question is just asking which of the following do not describe a proportion. Alin ba dyan yung halos hindi naman equal? So this is an example of different kinds of proportionality. Which of them is not a proportion? So for number 2, again, it's finding for which is not true. So if you're given with m over n equals h over k, which of them do not apply the properties of our proportionality? So is, for example, in letter B, is this the correct cross multiplication? And for letter A, is this the correct inverse property? And the others, do they have the correct properties of your proportion? Okay, numbers 3 to 5. Okay, this is some application. This will be computation part. So for number 3, I will already give the cross multiplied, and then you are just going to solve for the value of x. So we have 5 times the value of 5x plus 4 is equal to 3x times 10. So we have 5 times 5, 25x. 5 times 4, that is 20. Then we have 3 times 10, that is 30x. So simply transpose your 25, then divide both sides kung ano naman yung value. Then hanapin yung sagot dun sa number 3. So yan, sana masagot niyo yung number 3. Number 4, okay, we already have this answer a while ago. So, hahanapin lang ulit natin yung factors. So, I'm already going to give you the factors here. So, 4x squared minus 8xy minus 5y squared is equal to 0. So, if we're going to get the factors of that one, that is equivalent to, so we have 2x times 2x, and then we have negative 5y positive y equals 0. Then, what are we going to do next after finding the factors? So, yung 2x minus 5y equals 0. Then, 2x plus y equals 0. Then, you have to solve at the end that x over y is equal to ano yung dalawang magiging proportion or ratio niya. Then, so number 5, we're given with a problem solving on a proportion. So we have here the length and width of a rectangle whose perimeter is 60 centimeters are in the ratio 3:2. What is the area of the rectangle? So we all know that the given length and width, twice to yung perimeter. Because for your perimeter, that is twice the sum of your length and width. So, for us to get the sum or yung length and width, so divide by 2 muna natin yung 60. So, 60 divided by 2, so definitely that is equivalent to 30. Then, you have a ratio of 3:2. Ang gagawin nyo lang, i-add nyo lang yon. So, that will be equivalent to 5. So, 3 plus 2 is 5. Then, you're just going to divide it by 30. Then, multiply. So, we are going to have, so just get the length and width. We're going to have 30 divided by 3 plus 2 is 5. So, that is 6. So, since it's 3:2, 3 times 6, the length is 18. And then is to 2. So, 2 times 6, that is 12. So, we're finding the area. So, ang gagawin nyo na lang is, what is the area of your rectangle? Length times width. Then, find the answers from A to D. Okay, so I hope I was able to guide you in answering learning task number 2 and your assessment for this quarter 3, week 5 of your mathematics 9. So, please finish all your tasks and your performance tasks as well. And see you again on our next video next week. That's all. Thank you. God bless everyone.